All right, first up we have Donovan Gregory and Tre'Von Spillers after our 67-55 win at our Sun Belt opener. We'll go ahead and fire away with questions. Just ask if you do ask a question to raise your hand and then state your name and affiliation, and we'll go ahead and fire away.
Zach Smith, High Country Sports. So, into the second half, ULM goes on a little bit of run, get into a media break, I want to say around the 8-minute mark. What's the conversation in the huddle before you come back out and kind of take over at the end?
Just keep our head up. We know we're going to make some turnovers, make some mistakes, but as long as we just keep our head in the game, it's just a game of runs, so we just got to keep doing what we got to do, that's all.
Getting back into things after a little bit of a break and stuff like that, seemed like things were a little bit sluggish at the beginning of things. How'd you guys overcome that and get things back on track?
Yeah, just getting into a groove. We had some people out and just figuring out the rotations. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I think it just came down to getting stops. Everything else we're going to take care of itself.
You're 1-0 now in Sun Belt play. How important is it for you guys to just, keep things going in the next, stretch of games?
It's going to be very important. Just because this conference we're in, it's a very tough conference. Every team we go play against is going to be very tough. We just got to make sure we just, as we keep going, as in practice, just keep doing little things right, and we'll be good.
Yeah, and just take it one game at a time. Don't look ahead. Just prepare for the next opponent and just keep going 1-0.
Tre'Von, what did your teammates, your more experienced teammates, tell you about what it was going to be like playing in the Sun Belt?
They told me it was going to be tough, but I already knew it was going to be tough before I came there. But they just gave me a little more feeling of how it's going to be. But I know I'm ready for it. But we're going to be good as a team. Just got to just keep pushing away.
Is it different, Donovan, being one of the couple of top teams that people are expecting to be the favorites to win the whole thing in the Sun Belt this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of pressure. Different having expectations, but at the same time, expectations are good. And, we just got to come in each and every day wanting to get better and just exceeding those expectations. So that just comes from our team just staying locked in and, not forgetting what got us there. So just keep playing hard, keep practicing hard, and let it happen.
So looking ahead in the schedule, you're about to go on a 4-game road trip. What's the preparation behind that?
Yeah, I think it's really just the same thing. Just like I said, staying locked in, knowing that road games in the Sun Belt are going to be tough and that it's going to require a different amount of focus. And that's just something that, I think we're going to have all year to be successful, just a lot of focus.
Donovan, your 5th Sun Belt opener, just describe the feeling of getting out on the court to play a conference opponent and just the toughness of the Sun Belt that you have to win basketball games in this conference.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. Non-conference records don't really matter. I mean, we've seen teams pick last, win the regular season, teams that might have had a bad non-conference schedule come out and sweep through the Sun Belt. So, you just got to take every game serious. You can't look over any teams, take any teams for granted, and you got to bring it each and every night.
Tre'Von, your first Sun Belt Conference opener, just describe the feeling of getting out there and playing against a tough opponent like ULM.
It was a great feeling. I live for these moments every day, but got this one out the way, and you got to keep pushing for the next. That's all.
Both of you, down a few players today, a few regulars in Jordan Marsh and Xavier Brown. Just talk about the way that the team kind of gelled today a little bit with a short rotation and how they so propelled to a victory in the opener here today.
Yeah, I mean, just like next man up mentality. I mean, that's what we had today, and we made it work. So, we couldn't really make any excuses. We just had to go out there, play hard, do what we would normally do if those guys were here. So that's what we did.
Any other questions for Tre'Von and Donovan? All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
All right, now we have head coach Dustin Kerns. After our 67-55 win in our Sunbelt opener, we'll let him start with an opening statement, and then we'll move into questions.
Yeah, well, first, family first. Our thoughts and prayers with Jordan Marsh and his family, his mom Melissa, the unexpected death, and his grandfather, Melissa's dad, and then also the Huntley family. CJ just a couple days ago lost his grandfather, so thinking about Andrea and their family, and certainly. Always thoughts and prayers with things like that. To the game, I'm really proud of our guys. 1-0 in the Sun Belt, and it's Sun Belt play. I mean, it's it's competitive. They got a really well-coached team. They've really been battle tested. Played at Houston. Played at some really tough environments. But I thought, we found another way to win. We did not particularly shoot it great, but found a way to win. I was really proud of our defense to end the game. They didn't score for the last 4 minutes of the game. And so as we made our free throws and we made some shots, I thought also we really locked in defensively and got some big stops.
All right, now moving to questions. Just ask that you state your name and affiliation and go ahead and fire away.
Hey, Coach Zach Smith, High Country Sports. So, important win today, not only starting 1-0 in conference, but how important is the win heading into your next 4 games all on the road?
Yeah, and I thought I want to say this too, I thought our crowd was great today. I thought the community really showed up. Our students are not in session, but I want to give a shout out to those few students that were over there. But I thought we had a great crowd. It's fun to be back at home. This is our first home games since December the 5th. And now we got to go on the road again for 4 straight, which will be challenging, especially in this league. But, to get win number 1 at home, win number 1 in the Sun Belt, big deal, especially with a couple key players out.
Well, speaking of home court, 6-0 at the home center this year, what's the importance of having those big crowds like tonight? Yeah,
that's certainly a big goal of ours, right? And to continue to play well at home. Once again, I really thought our crowd really helped us at the end of the game. And so shout out to all the fans that came out. I thought for December the 30th, and this was a great crowd.
And then last one for me, you touched on it a second ago, a bunch of key players out. What does it say about your team, the guys that did step up to fill in those roles?
Yeah, I think our depth has been our strength. But we've had depth with rest, fresh bodies. And so, to Donovan, Miles, Terrence, and Christopher Mantis, to their credit, they didn't have a lot of subs today. And, I think Christopher Mantis in the first half played like 14 straight minutes, and give him his credit. Like, he was playing hard. But we still found a way to balance our minutes. I thought Justin Abson really had a great game. Thought he was aggressive, 13 and 7, 3 for 4 from the line. I thought Donovan Gregory made winning plays. Tre'Von Spillers made some winning plays there at the end. But I also thought everybody contributed. Even though C.J. Huntley and Chris Mendes maybe didn't make a shot, like just them being out there and their ability to shoot it, stretch the floor. C.J. made some big free throws. Terrence Harcum had some big shots. But also Terrence really defended really well.
You had a little bit of a layoff and such. How much do you think that played into maybe the sluggish start and the shooting woes today?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't. We took 4 days off. Certainly, I think sometimes as a coach, some of your most difficult games are right after exams. Because it's always a long layoff, right before Christmas, because everybody's kind of in a mindset of they're going home. And then coming back to those 3 games are kind of, and probably your opener. Those are the 4 most kind of critical games because, But I thought that, I thought there for the first 15 minutes, I thought we looked really well. We didn't close the half, but I thought we were up maybe 35-21 there or something like that, maybe going into the first with 2 to play going into halftime, but then they closed the half on us. And so I thought that other than that, I thought I'm not really worried about our shooting. We got good shooters. I'm going to tell our guys to keep playing with confidence and keep rising up and shooting them. But when you can win shooting 4 for 27, that's a positive, right? But we're going to make shots, and there's going to be a couple of games we're going to rip the absolute nets off.
How heartening is it, a couple of things, to see your team come through on a day where you're missing a couple of bodies, and then secondly, how heartening is it to see you on a day where you're not shooting well to dig in and play fundamental App State defense?
Yeah, both those things were really, I thought that, once again, we did get in some foul trouble. Donovan got 3 early in the second half. Miles picked up his 4th, and so we were able to manage that and get through it. But that was a big concern because they do draw fouls really well, especially number 3, LaCure. And so usually you have a couple other bodies there, and we will get those guys back. I mean, Jordan's going to be back tomorrow. Xavier is still day-to-day, but really improving. But our guys accepted the challenge of being a couple guys down and still finding a way. That was the thing, to say, find a way. We don't need any out-of-body experiences, just be yourself, But I also thought, once again, defensively, we really, holding that team to 55 points was impressive and big deal.
You win games when you keep people down like that.
Absolutely.
That's been your tradition. What's it like coming into Sun Belt play this year as being one of the favorites to win the thing, and the pressure that is involved in that?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question, especially after being 10-3 right now, especially before January, right? Listen, expectations are good. Like at the end of the day, that's good. You want that. You want to play in games that matter, and certainly I think we're going to be playing in games that matter, especially certainly heading down the stretch here. But every game's a fight. It's a long deal. We've got 17 more of those. We've got to go on the road for 4 straight. So that's going to be challenging, right? But I think that our focus is really one day at a time, one opponent at a time, and we know that this league is really competitive. This league is filled with really great players and coaches, and we just got to really take care of App State.
Coach, how do you game plan against a player like LaCour who sits out the entire first half, and then how does the game plan change when he comes back in the second half for your squad?
Well, yeah, he was a big part of our game plan, and then we learned he was, suspended for the first half. But you know what? We also thought that was an opportunity for some guys to let loose. Their bench players are really capable scorers, especially, Watson. You got Wilson, Bolden. We knew this is an opportunity for those guys to really step up and play loose, free, and confident. They did. But you know what? It's just probably like when they showed up and they realized we had a couple guys out, like he just kind of adjust. I thought that it was really, he's a really good coach. He's won a ton of games for a long time. I thought that we both really threw some stuff at each other, right? Like they went in zone. They played 7 possessions in zone the whole season. And they threw some zone at us. We trapped the post some. We trapped the ball screen some. Like I thought we both there was a little bit of a chess match there, but proud of our guys for really coming through at the end and getting some stops.
And obviously you said that you closed the half poorly, started the second half a little poorly, but then when they cut it close to about 4 points, your team really showed resiliency and went on an 8-0 run and closed the game and won by 12. Just talk about the way that the team has fought all season long, even down 2 guys today, and how you hope that continues.
Yeah, once again, I think part of our strength is our depth. And if somebody's maybe not particularly having a best game, like somebody is. And but today, obviously, we were down a couple key players. But our guys were just themselves. And that was my focus to them was, hey, listen, nobody needs to have an out-of-body experience. You don't need to feel any pressure to do anything different. You're just going to play a little bit more. And just go out there and be yourself and hoop. And my big thing was just not get in foul trouble. Because they do a lot of off-ball screening. A lot of teams will screen on the ball. They do a lot of off-ball, and they can draw a lot of fouls because you're chasing their cutters off screens and things like that, and they got us a couple times. That was really one of our biggest concerns, and we did get in foul trouble. Like Donovan got his 3rd was 16 to play, and we had to sit him down before he got his 4th, and then Miles got his 4th. I think maybe around 7 or 8 minutes, but we made it through it, and a great team win. Obviously, any Sun Belt win is a big deal, right? This is a really tough conference. And so we took care of home. Now we've got to, reset ourselves and go on the road.
Yeah. Last question for me. 10 wins before the new year. That's the first time it's happened in a long time. How does this momentum continue on into the new year now?
Yeah, I think that we just keep taking one day at a time. Just keep resetting ourselves, keep centering ourselves, and I think that just really focus on the next day, that practice. When we get to that game, let's focus on that opponent. We came back from Christmas. We really focused on App State for a few days. We just turned the page to Monroe here just a day or so. I just thought it was important that we really focus on App State and get back to our identity. And I thought we looked like ourselves. We didn't know about the key departures until a couple days ago. And so Xavion was trying. He was making progress, and then obviously Jordan and his family had a unexpected death and the funeral arrangements and all that. So we had to adjust, but I thought everybody supported Jordan and CJ really well through this difficult time for them and their families, and stepped up today.
Any other questions for Coach Kerns? All right, thanks, guys.
Go Mountaineers, take the stairs.